my own journey for self-improvement, I managed to meet a lot of kind, awesome, and extraordinary people, and everyone had something to tell. What I wanted to do was share the stories and experiences of these people so that everyone could benefit from them. But I was afraid. What if I was not able to get the message through? What if my skills were not enough? What if I failed? That's when I had an idea. There were some people that already made it, some people that were successful enough to make their dreams come true. I decided to ask them for advice, and this is what they said.
Hey Wes, it's Daniel Davis from the Nanny. So I got your message. You've quit everything. You've quit your tech job and stability, and you want to start a podcast like the Joe Rogan Experience. You want to surround yourself with greatness, surpassing your limits, and you've never been so afraid in your life. So Wes, here's the deal. Did you ever read a book called Dune? You know what he says in the book, fear is the great enemy? Well, we're all afraid, pal. I've never walked on stage or walked on a set in my life, and I've been doing it since I was 11 years old, and I'll be 75 in November. I've never walked on any soundstage or any stage without wanting to puke my guts out with fear. But I feel the fear, and as the old saying goes, I do it anyway. Because the fear is only about starting. The fear is only about just beginning to do something. Once you're into it, man, the fear goes away. And if you're going to surround yourself with greatness, then you'll have to rise to the occasion. And you'll have to be great too. And you will be. Because you believe in it. You believe in yourself and you believe in what you want to do. And you've given up a lot. Stability, that's a lot. A tech job, I'm sure that's a lot. I don't know that I know who Joe Rogan is because I'm old and I don't get into podcasts very much. But that's me. That's not the world, thank God. But all I want to do is just say to you that you go for your bliss, what you think will make you happy in your work. I don't know where happiness comes from except from inside. So if you're not feeling inside how you want to feel on the outside, then you're not going to be happy doing anything. You got to be happy with what you choose to do and make it work for yourself. Happiness will come from within, and you'll be doing what you want to do. I'm so grateful every day that I get to do what I want to do. I'm not too grateful about it right now because nobody's doing what they want to do right now. But I tell you something, this epidemic that we're sitting here going through, it has been a time for me to reevaluate, change my perspective, maybe even change my life and do something with the rest of my time that I thought about but have never done, and I don't know what that is yet. But I know that when I get ready to do it or make that leap, it'll be accompanied by fear, but it's not going to stop me, and I don't want it to stop you. So I encourage you, I support you in your decision, and I hope you get what you want. Mainly, and most importantly, I hope you stay well, keep well. God bless, take care of yourself, pal, and good luck with it. I'll be looking for you, okay? Bye-bye.
Hello.
Hey, bro, how's it going?
I'm doing really good. How is it going? Are you safe? How is it going over there? Everyone you?
Montreal, everything's fine. Still lockdown, quarantine, but I mean, it's not full lockdown, but like can't go out and stuff in groups of 2 or 3.
How is your family doing? Everybody's all right?
Yeah, good, definitely. Everything for us is pretty much fine. But it's pretty crazy. Historical moment.
Yeah, man. It's pretty weird what's happening now. It's getting me also to discover some parts about myself, which we can talk about later. So first of all, I wanted to say for this podcast, we have the one and only, the king of TikTok now, and the king of content. So I've been following this guy for this past, I would say, 6 to 8 months. I really love what he does. His consistency is above the roof, I would say, and his understanding of what's going behind the algorithm is pretty amazing. So I wanted to discuss more about that. And in second time, I also want to discuss about his brand, Oni, the workshop, which is a really cool on Instagram brand that I shown with really cool designs. And from that, I want to talk with some inspiration and hobbies, which I saw in Instagram and some other places we were following together. So welcome on this episode. And can
Thanks.
you
I appreciate it a
introduce
lot.
yourself
Pretty
a
excited
bit to
to be
us?
here. So you want me to start off by introducing myself, or?
Yeah, man. I would like to know, where do you come from? What did you do before everything started? So basically, I know that you started doing content 5 or 6 years now. I listened to that in some podcasts that you told, but
Yep.
more than that, I don't know. Like, I know that you established yourself like in both those like brand, like this brand of clothing, and you established this content creation, and now you're attacking this podcast. But I wanted to discover more, what led you into this, or how did you build it?
Well, first of all, my family background is from a background of like entrepreneurship, business, whatever. So I've always been kind of like introduced to like these types of ideas, these types of like this type of like just like the mindset of the entrepreneur, the mindset of business. I mean, from the beginning, I always wanted to have like a certain like excitement in my life, and I found that the most exciting pathway would be to take the route of like lots of risk. You know, I don't want to go down the safe path. Lots of risk, lots of mistakes, lots of ups and downs. To me, that's more exciting than going down a safer path, to say. So, and I saw my friend was doing stuff online. Like he's a magician, so he does like more of a service provision of service. And he was posting online, getting a lot of gigs, getting a lot of events through like posting on social media. And I was like, okay, there's something online that's like a little bit intriguing to me. It's like you can reach basically anybody in the world. The scalability is just massive. If I'm able to master the skill of like getting the attention, then driving traffic to a website or a landing page or something, then it's definitely a very, very powerful skill to have in like a 21st century environment and forward. So that was kind of like my rationale. And then I jumped straight into Instagram, started first page, unorthodox compared to what the mainstream was saying. Like at the time, like Instagram was like a lot more visual.
Yeah, man.
And what I wanted to do initially was to have an Instagram profile, a fitness Instagram page, and then drive all of the traffic to a blog. That was my initial kind of like thinking. I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive traffic to the blog. People are gonna read it. Then I'm like, bro, nobody's gonna fucking go to your blog and read. Why don't you make the articles or long form captions like directly on IG? So that's exactly what I did. I just merged the two together. Again, some people were saying to me, yo, it's not gonna work. Nobody's gonna read long form captions on IG. I grew the page to 30K, and that was like my first stepping stone into like this entire world. It's a little bit motivating. And then next thing you know, I saw like other pages and profiles on IG in the fitness realm were having massive growth in the transformation meme pages. So I started my own, grew the page 300,000. After like 2 years, 300,000 page got deleted for a violation of guidelines. Then I also had an 80K fitness page on IG, another one. And then I also had a 200K Facebook page. While I had all those fitness pages, I took all of this is what I did. This is why it's not lost what you do on social media. I took all of the long form captions that I had on my first page, which I had a lot. And then I compiled all of the data and information into an ebook, had the whole thing designed, edited, whatever. Then I signed up for ClickFunnels through an affiliate at a discounted rate. Set up my ClickFunnels, set up my landing page, the autoresponder, everything. And then I started to pick up a lot of emails using this free 60-page ebook in the fitness niche, fitness ebook. Got the email list to 10K subscribers. But like, it's just to show like it's not lost if you're putting in crazy amounts of work on a certain thing, even if there's no immediate return, or if there's no immediate like logical thing that you might get out of it.
I'm totally with you. I started writing articles in my last job, and some publication on Medium like Top 10 contacted me, and I was at that time trying video and pictures and trying like on Instagram doing drop shipping and things. And I figured out I was good at writing, and so many people are answering, and it's getting me actual money. So I shifted, why not construct the old way, get a blog, and as you said, get the email database, and then I can drop ship, or I can hit the person that I deem from my brand that are more pertinent to my marketing strategies.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense actually. And yeah, and then well, for me, the next thing that I did was that during that time I was also doing consulting for Instagram growth and Instagram monetization, and even like sales funnels and like e-com. And then there was one guy in Montreal. That's where I'm from, Montreal. There's a guy who messaged me for a consulting session. I was like, okay, let's do it, but we'll actually meet up and stuff, because most of the sessions I did were like United States or whatever, and then I just like did a video call. So I met up with a guy, sat down together, did 3 sessions together, 2-3 sessions. I think it was 3 sessions. And next thing you know, in the summer of that year, my parents were like, go look for an internship, because I was studying software engineering, look for an internship. And I was like, hey, this is an e-com. Maybe I could do something on the software side, on like the programming side. So I looked for an internship, worked with him for the year. And then next thing you know, I tried to ask for equity in that company, tried to ask for equity in that company. He refused, but he said that he had a second brand on the side, which is the one Only the Workshop. And then we did, but he didn't have any time to work on it. He just had it set up. Then we did a partnership deal with that Only the Workshop, and we've been trying to grow it for like about a little over a year now.
But it's super cool. I like it. I see that you work a lot also with influencers there, and you're creating the whole atmosphere behind it, which is pretty cool. And I think this Asiatic, like kind of black and red vibes, like is catchy over there.
Yeah, well, first of all, we were always interested in like the Japanese culture, and then and we know that people are also interested in Japanese culture, so we tried to bring a different side to Japanese culture, which is like a darker side. We also liked streetwear a lot, so we kind of like blended the whole thing together, and been trying really hard to like evolve the brand into like, I mean, it's still a very small brand, don't get me wrong. Like, this is not a big brand or established brand by any means. And we've been pushing very hard on like the branding side, less on the sales side. So we did a lot of campaigns, influencer marketing campaigns. We did a lot of like, I was posting like 3-4 times every day on the feed. And then I was posting like 10 times in the stories, like crazy amount of networking. We have a Discord chat with an inner circle. Yeah, like a lot of people, what they do is they have a Facebook group, because it's more legit. And they bring all of the people that like their brand a lot, or they're following a lot, into the Facebook group. We did a Discord group because we wanted to go down the route of trying to be as personable and as emotional and warm as possible with the audience, instead of being like, yo, what's up? We're like a new brand. We're a new brand, or we're a brand, and don't ask us too many questions. Don't talk to us too much. We're too high for you. And it's like, we're trying to go like the opposite way.
We did that actually as well. I worked last time with the brand. It's involved like Bayern, which they were making digital cards, virtual digital cards on the blockchain. And the whole concept is a game is going to come in the future. So we had exactly to do this, push the emotional side on the marketing and push more the influencer, or doing call to action from Bayern itself to create an identity in Fest. So I think within this route, what I saw work for sure is if you put like 100K, I would say, for a big brand, or you have like a really solid partnership with like one marquee client, one marquee partner, I think it's really good for small to medium projects.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, and especially like, that's the thing with like the online space. It's like a lot of the cash, a lot of the stuff, the foundations, you can just kind of set it up really fast at the beginning, and then a lot of the cash injected would be for like supplemental stuff, but like it's not necessary per se. But it's like definitely like, you know, a good thing to have like extra cash to like reinvest on a bunch of like marketing stuff. Yeah.
So secondly, how did it feel when you blow up on TikTok? I was seeing you, and I think the first video they saw at the time was the algorithm of TikTok, the first one, the part 1. And then I went back and I discovered a couple of other videos. One of them in particular attracted me, that I'll talk to you about later, but let's push it. How did it feel, all this like momentum going up and being so, and how did you manage to stay this consistent to find pertinent ideas?
I mean, well, first of all, it feels good, but my kind of like my emotional side per se, as far as like the dopamine release from like social, has pretty much died down like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Like whether I get 100,000 views or 5,000 or 2,000 or a million, to me it's all the same thing. I mean, I'm happy when it does well, but I'm not like overexcited at all. I'm just like very grounded, because I'm like, the reason why I'm grounded is because I've gone through like a bunch of like a lot of like cycles, emotional cycles. You know, when you attach your self-esteem to your account, and then like the account like dies out because of the algorithm, or you have like, again, the my account got deleted. You put in 2 years of work, day in, day out, and then boom, one shot deletion. Can't even appeal the accounts. So my emotional attachment to like things like related to social media has been pretty stable. Let's just say that.
That I understand from like when you are mature enough, or when you realize like people like you, or in this path of the entrepreneurship, they are more excited even by, let's start, like the start is more even exciting, like the journey than the end goal, or that short term like gratification. So I understand perfectly what you mean, but I think it's also like when you work 5 or 6 years and get like millions of views, or that platform that pops up, so it's also like not good also for your self-esteem, but it's like that medal, or like you win something at least.
Oh yeah, well, the medal is definitely something that a lot of people will probably go through. As of right now, I don't feel the medal that much, because I don't feel safe until it's what I call, I have like an omni-channel network, so a lot of followers and attention on multiple channels. If I have a lot of attention on one channel, I'm just scared.
Yeah, it may die. That's true with TikTok.
I'm like, I'm not gonna celebrate too fast. If this shit hits the fan and I spread myself too thin, and I tell everybody, oh, look at this, whatever, I don't feel good at all. So until I have like a network, that's like I just say everything till that point is my warm up.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I'm expecting you to go more. I've seen you like now taking over and trying to split. That's why I said that first, but I seen you wanting to split all the attention, so you are more stable. Because what I liked also from your TikTok strategy, and you can more enlighten me, that you chose to put valuable information first, then you included some of your emotional side, and you develop now, when people know you, into like more trivia and more general info, people what they might be interested in.
Yeah, actually, it's a very interesting thing. It's like a lot of the content that I'm putting out right now, okay, is firstly, it's to try to, because I know things that are relatively lower substance, quicker facts that are extreme but like relatively generic. That shit goes viral because everybody can relate to it fast. They don't have time to go for like the in-depth stuff. If I get into the in-depth stuff, I'll probably drive the traffic to a YouTube channel, and I'll do long form, like 1 hour discussions about a certain topic that's like very, very deep, which a lot of people do like, but it's not a place it's a lot harder to have that kind of place on TikTok. And I'm trying to get to the point where my account is like either verified, because verification gives a level of favoritism to the account, or to a point where I'm like at 1 million or 2 million, and it's like the account is like almost like, it's past the phase of like even having low performance videos. Like the base is like freaking high.
Yeah, I understand.
So, and the second reason why I'm doing a bunch of diversified content right now is to showcase the people, because I do a lot of consulting as well, showcase the people like, look, I've done it myself, multiple niches, multiple domains with a similar format, let's say, and it freaking works. So like a lot of people, what they do is they look at my content, they're like, yeah, this guy's posting like very generic, low substance stuff, whatever. Like some people, but you're always gonna get that. And I'm like, you're judging what I'm doing now without really understanding that I'm just doing that for consulting. I'm just doing that to get to the check mark, and then I could go into more deep stuff.
And not even, I saw you like you were testing like data at some point. Like you were giving like add the time clock, or add, because you saw that the algorithm is favoring. And what I was interested in, or I saw you like, that's when I contact in general people or creative or artists. That's my niche, or what I want to establish at least. But when I see them aiming for like either legacy or a long-term value, that's when I'm interested, because they're not afraid of providing upfront value or just invest in everything into branding. So
I'm not holding back on knowledge at all. All the algorithm videos, I'm not putting out because I I just believe that it's that, and I don't just put it out because I'm trying to upsell you. Even in my consulting sessions, people are like, there's like people around me that be like, yo, how come you're giving so much value in like one session? And I'm like, because I don't give a shit about, like, I don't do the natural, a lot of consultants, what they do is they try to extend the sessions as much as possible to maximize the monetization. In my phase right now, I'm just like, yo, I'm going to just overload this guy with info.
You don't have time. He doesn't understand. You don't have time. You need to learn more.
Yeah. There's not enough time for to understand, but it's also for the word of mouth. And I don't have time myself to like play this game of like stupidity.
Exactly.
And I don't want to hurt my personal brand equity. So yeah.
For example, in my coaching, I do everything that is supposed to take like they call life coaching. But for example, I start in general by just inducting some routines. And most of them are from the inspiration that we see, like the Wim Hof breathing, cold showers, or to get some hobbies, to get some creative side. So just to find a life balance, then to go like, if you heard about it, the Goggins accountability mirror when you face yourself. And then and then how to establish some like side hustles within your day, or to quit the 9 to 5. And I didn't want to do it. That's why I'm starting all this podcast and everything now, because I was working actually, and I was into 9 to 5. So I didn't want to present persons the life that I was not living. So I told myself, let's take a break. I can present them everything I know. And for TikTok and everything, like I wanted to do a Deadpool, motivational Deadpool, and I want some value creation, but Corona came and I'm a bit confined, so I'm doing it a bit later. And for the other platforms, I'm just doing now with creative, like either creative projects or like this, just like Joe Rogan kind of talks, where I want people to be themselves and to know them. I think it brings more value, or it will generate like from making consistency with this kind of format, people will build a truthful community.
Oh yeah, definitely. You should actually I was telling my friend, I'm like, we're going to keep an eye. Right now, a lot of stuff we're doing on TikTok is like just it's getting used to being on short form. First of all, getting used to be on video and getting used to the environment of short form video apps. But we're going to keep an eye on Lasso. Lasso is the Facebook short form video platform. They're about to do a partnership or like tap into the Geo network, which is like a huge Indian network. It's a lot of people. And then we're also going to take a look at Shorts, which is the YouTube short form video platform, which should be coming out relatively soon. We'll see how YouTube executes, but I wouldn't discount too quick. For Byte, I kind of like, I look at it, which is like the Byte is like basically short form video platform by the Vine co-founder. As of right now, it looks like it's not enough of a radical shift or a radical change for people to be like, I'm going to jump on this app. It's like, it's too similar to TikTok in my view.
Have you heard about MeWe?
No, haven't heard.
MeWe is a platform basically when it was created back in 2012, and they aim to create a private kind of Facebook. So to give back Facebook where it was, privacy of content. So no data sold. And you could share like live music, live audio, live music, and they make only money on either customization of profile or like additional data on the cloud. But everything you can monetize your content. So they're willing to access more this, like the guys that do now micro influencers or entertainer and performers or creatives. And they've been growing steadily. And how I find my stuff is I go a lot on Google Trends every morning and I try to see. And they were popping like crazy this week over the US. So
we'll take a look at that then. Yeah. What's it called? MeWe?
MeWe, yeah. They call themselves the next gen platform that never gonna be sold.
Yeah, that's like that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of resentment towards like a lot of the big social media platforms because of multiple reasons, like you said, the privacy issues, the data, selling the data, whatever. Even now, like a lot of censorship, like free speech stuff. Like I think there's a guy. I mean, I don't really follow him that much, but the Real London Talk.
I've been following him for 6 years, and I saw you liking the David Icke interview.
yeah. He's like they're like funding a project for like a free speech platform or something. Makes a lot of sense.
Might
That's
be
why I said
interesting.
the more the like from an ideological standpoint, the more YouTube, all these tech companies from Silicon Valley, Facebook, whatever, engage in like authoritarian, we're gonna try to censor the speech on our platforms, which they could do because it's their platform, then that's gonna give rise to other platforms that value like that free speech, to say. So it's a pretty interesting market.
Yeah, I
Pretty
think so.
interesting market.
It's gonna reshape itself, I think, within the next years. Like the
Yeah.
land of social media, I don't think it's gonna stay the same. The model, like how is like conducted, like it was constructed on network, and network, if you want, there is network effects behind them, and the network effects are like it creates bubbles for people that are auto-reproductive and auto-destructive. So basically you induct people into creating aggressive behavior or this kind of stuff, or depression or anxiety or comparison, fear of performance, like with likes or what they are discussing now. And I don't think over a long run we would sustain in society having this kind of social media. I think we will get more into a collaborative or more into like Twitch. You're seeing, for example, a lot of people now go into the gamers platform or get into gaming. Like Travis Scott did the concert on Fortnite, or like all the DJs are going for monetization on Twitch, because it feels more like a community and you can get paid directly. So there is not this kind of like every time you get text.
Well, you know, I think also like, it's like, if you know anything about business, and most people I think might not know, especially a lot of influencers, it's like they think the only way to make money online is like through the built-in monetization of the platform. They even ask the question like, how do I make money? Like, you can make money on TikTok. Like, the question in itself is like assuming that like there's a direct way of making money, and it's like, well, there's a built-in monetization through the lives, but like you can make money through other means. Like, that depends on you.
Exactly. And sometimes it pisses me off when I ask this question, like, do you like Gary Vee? He tells me yes. Do you live like Gary Vee? He tells me yes. I told him I don't live like him. I don't pretend I don't want to have his life. He's a workaholic, and I seen you how you live, and you're not that. So why not seek another type of inspiration, or like, because what he's telling you is to prove like this attention, you could funnel it within your person, use your personality. And as you do, like you said, you can do it in every niche. Just get the information within what people want to hear from you.
Oh yeah. I mean, Gary Vee is good, but again, Gary Vee, like, it's like you say, Gary Vee, or like any of that's why I don't only follow one person particularly, but I'll follow a guy. I'll go in depth to get the real context of that person, because I don't want to, like, I see a lot of people, what they do is like they watch a few videos of Gary Vee and they think they know what Gary Vee is referring to, and it's like Gary Vee was saying that in a specific context. towards like a public, like a board of directors. That's like very, very specific to those people. But that advice does not translate to like a regular person to say. But so the way I usually do is I try to go deep on one guy, get the context as much as possible, move on to the next guy, and then take elements of each.
For me, I didn't put you in context, but I came from another place. For example, I was living in Berlin. My father died, and I was going into partying for many years, and all I've researched in my life is, as you said, thrill. But I didn't have the entrepreneurship mind or something. I stumbled upon I was searching more into personal development, and I stumbled upon Jesse Itzler, then Go Games. Then I went into different places all over the world. Then I took everything that was like benefic for me, like within my art or so.
Oh yeah. Actually, it's very interesting. Like people, sometimes people talk to me and they're like, they don't understand the frame of mind that I'm in. And it's like, but like, even when I coach, or even when I wrote a 100-page Instagram ebook.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I was doing. The first chapter, or the first part of the ebook, was almost all on mindset. Because I have people that come to me, or people that want consulting, or they want me to teach them or whatever. And it's like, they want me to give them the supplements, like in fitness, the tactics to get to like that next level. but they have zero of the mindset to engage in that thing, and they fucking give up in like 2 seconds, bro. And I'm like, yo, before you get to tactics, you got to fix your brain. Like, you got to rewire the brain completely, and then build up discipline, and then get into like the actual blueprint and tactics and stuff like that. Because if I just give you the tactics straight up, I know in 2 months from now, you're gonna fucking give up.
But what do you when you get people to that threshold? I've seen because I do it so quick, so abruptly. I've seen a lot of sometimes resentment, where people are not ready sometimes to face their demons. But I've seen also people which in 2 weeks, like they put everything behind, and now they're doing better than me, or they're giving me the motivation. So, which kind of approach, for example, do you use? Are you more into a lean where you put them into a comfort zone, or is just more like direct? Sorry.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't really do the whole life coaching motivation stuff that much. Usually what I do is I kind of like complement my session with some mindset stuff, because I know they're gonna break. As far as the speed of transition, I think it has to do like the speed of which you go from, like, let's say a dark place, or the speed of which you go from like a place where it's like you kind of like reject everything, like more of a nihilistic thing, to like moving on to the right path towards something productive and like moving forward. I think the speed is dependent on the ego of the person. So if I come to you, if me and you just walk up to a guy who's nihilistic, and we fucking start telling him, yo, you should start doing this, he's gonna be like, yo, fuck you piece of shit. I don't want to talk to you. He first of all, he has to want to help himself. He has to see himself as like a special person in the world, and then he could slowly start to move towards it. But if he's not even aware of like his ego, or aware of like he's a special person, or he's like full nihilistic, it's like you have to engage in like that kind of like that rewiring of the brain for a good amount of time, or else it's not going to go anywhere. Not going to go anywhere. It's like you even try to debate to debate people that are not even like, they're not even in that first stage yet. They're like outside the stage. They're like, yo, my life is fucking useless. They're not even in the first stage. And now you want to like talk to them about like levels, stuff that's at level 99. It's like, bro, this doesn't work that way.
From where did this like love for Japanese culture come?
Well, first of all, I'm half Asian.
Yeah, I listened. I think you told it once in one of your videos. Sorry, I stuttered.
Yeah, so I kind of have like an affinity. I mean, I chill with a lot of people that are Asian, so that's number one. I've been to Asia a lot. For me, it's not only Japan that I like or whatever, but there's like something about Japan that's like a little bit kind of like, it's like I don't know, it's like a disciplined, but there's also like facets of it that are like interesting and like unique in its own kind of like complexity. So I don't know, it's just something that like we were kind of like super like intrigued by and compelled by. And you can clearly see it by the behavior of people towards like people in like the world towards like Japanese culture. Like you can see that it's like they kind of like view it as like, oh, there's something cool or something going on there, or something I like about that. I watch anime. But for example, one thing that's pretty interesting that I found is that all the people that do Japanese inspired arts you see on Instagram a lot, almost all of them are Latino.
That's true.
I don't know. It's very interesting. I don't really know why in particular, but a lot of Latinos, they like the Asian culture a lot. Found it pretty interesting.
I also like I asked you because I have this like, I based my life almost on like anime, as you said. When I was young, I took a lot of pride in some of the symbols to base, like that's where I also was ambitious. I also had this energy that I wanted to change the world. I think this came from more for the Japanese culture, kind of like samurai. And now I want to get Miyamoto Musashi like on my back. It's
interesting because you also look at like a lot of like streetwear and clothing brands. A lot of them like originated something related to Japan, which is pretty insane too.
Yeah,
like Japan, they're strong, bro. Fashion, they're really, really strong. So
I think they have the money to pay. Like I've seen my friends who moved there, and they told me like, we lived in Berlin or in Paris or in Milan, but what people pay for art there is like not comparable. So art is very valued. So how to make it refined, or the refined part of it, is still pretty advanced in that market. And that's what I think is making them like still or be on the top of that side of the world, of that field?
Yeah, I mean, from a cultural perspective, we like it a lot. If we talk about more of an economic thing, I think there's a lot of problems econ, but then again, I can say that by every country.
Yeah.
Like massive intervention, massive statism in Japan. Like that's why they have the whole like stagflation thing for such a long time, because they keep printing cash, stimulus, like there's no tomorrow, and regulation of every almost every facet of the economy by the government.
Okay. So finally, last part. What are your goals, or what are you aiming for, and what would you advise for people that are on TikTok now or that want to start? Because I wrote an article a period ago where I told like the TikTok initial hype like 4 months ago is dying, and a lot of influencers, celebrities, and an algorithm is gonna get harder. And now with this confinement, I think I saw also all the influencers that had no time will have time and started getting on the platform. So I think it would be drastically harder. So what would you advise, and what are your goals now on that platform and the others, content?
Okay, so that's like we could talk about this for like an hour. But anyways,
yeah, in
I'll try to
short
jump.
version. We can make it another time. Like this is the first time I'm having fun talking with you about everything.
For sure. My goal right now is just to build massive leverage, build massive amounts of personal branding to get into those networks, to get my name out, to get whatever out. So like I could like, if the brand is strong, then the sale is very strong. Then closing the deals is very easy. But just to build a personal brand, because first of all, I want to do a lot of consulting, coaching, and public speaking would be very fun too. And one thing that is very interesting about ecom is that since it's not a physical store and there's less of a trust factor, you have to like it's the job for the business owner to build up that trust factor. That's why a lot of times the successful companies have like some sort of persona behind the brand, especially when they're starting out. Yeah. Starting out from ground zero with no persona or no person behind the brand, like no influencer or no co-founder or no like personal brand, can be a little bit difficult on the trust side for the company to grow. So that's one thing that I'm trying to do as well. And I was just capitalizing hard on TikTok because I was relatively early enough. I wasn't the earliest person, but I was early enough. And so this is a great way for me to build up more of that leverage. As far as the difficulty of the actual platform, oh yeah, bro. Like first of all, I felt it. I felt the difficulty because like the way I come to TikTok is very systematic. Like every move I do is very tactical and strategic. A lot of other people, it's less strategic. They don't really know the format. They don't really know the algorithm. I have a pretty good context. I noticed the down of the organic reach about 6-7 weeks ago. Okay, that was the first down. And it probably had to do with the fact that like you said, the economy, all of it shut down. Nobody has jobs. Nobody's at school anymore. They're all going back home and they're spending a shit ton of time just online. And the creators that were on the platform now, since they have more time, are pumping out more content. The ones that were not on the platform are now jumping on the platform because it's more mature and they have more time and they're bored. So it's a lot of competition being pumped out, and it's all being funneled down on the same For You page. So that's like exactly. You just filled up the funnel with like a fuck ton of content.
That's TikTok. That's crazy about it. You go from content from a cat to some guy motivating you, so to some guy wearing a bra in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. I mean, it depends how you categorize your account. But so that's what I noticed 7 weeks ago. What I noticed now 7 days ago was an even bigger surge. But I think the surge from 7 weeks ago, they were able to maintain it on their servers. I think what's happening the last 7 days was an overloaded server. Like their shit is just like, I have a bunch of videos, zero views in 2 hours, like retarded. Like it's posted, but it's not up for people to see.
So basically it happened to me. It started 4 months ago when I was making content like you daily, and I tried to push more. Like when I tried like the Gary Vee method with like 80 pieces of content a day, or I start 4 times posting on TikTok. And this started to happen, getting 0 views. Second thing that happened, that they started.
I don't know, but me, it's I don't want to cut you off, but me, it's I don't know if it's you're saying 0 views for the video altogether. Me, it's 0 views in 2 hours. It's like the video has been posted,
Exactly, yeah.
but
It stays for
it's not
sometimes
showing up.
2 or 4 or 5 hours with no views, then it drops like drastically at what it was used to be.
That's
Is it?
weird, yeah.
Mm.
And I have, I mean, so like 0 views for me is like literally impossible. So 0 views is very weird. The editing features in the app lag like there's no tomorrow. And the organic reach 7 days ago, and the content I'm putting out now, like it's very, very optimized for TikTok. Like it's very solid, and I'm getting like a third or like a fourth or a half of the views.
Don't you think it's time to jump on video a bit on YouTube and start to capitalize more on that side? At least providing some upfront value there. Have you considered that?
Yep, I need to definitely.
What I'm lacking is
what's interesting is like that's the thing. So six weeks ago, it really I had a little bit of a hard time getting views because I saw the tide really rise up fast because of coronavirus, really fast. So I had to up my game. Now I've really optimized my content, and then I had a phase like about 2 weeks ago where I was getting like literally 3 million views, 1.9 million views. 1 million views, like consistent, 2 million views, like fast, like very consistent. I grew like 70,000 followers in like 7 days or something, like retarded numbers. But because I knew, I'm like, okay, now I brought a new level to the table as far as content. Now those videos, pretty much the same thing now, or even better. And they're getting like 100,000 views, 20,000 views, 400,000 views, like not even close.
So what would you advise people?
So what I'm thinking is gonna happen. First of all, I don't know what's going on TikTok. I hope they're working their asses off to like fix it, to like fix their server overload and whatever, if it's even that, which I think it is. And what I think is gonna happen is when Trump decides to open the econ in like 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, and like it's same for Canada, 2-3 weeks, and they're not gonna open it fully, but at least like partially, that the fact that some people now have to go work and go to whatever, since they have less time on the app, it's gonna drop the competition a little bit, and then we're gonna be able to like pass those levels again. So that's my intuition. As of right now, I think we're just gonna have to suffer it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, so minimum.
So would you tell people just to practice? I think when people start now with TikTok is just to practice or not, or to do different accounts.
You know what's very funny is like I have a lot of like a lot of people that I know. I'm like, why don't you jump on TikTok for the sake of practicing on a video platform? Because you never freaking did it. I know you never did it. Why don't you go on TikTok to practice so that maybe one day, even if you don't blow up on TikTok, which you could, because I freaking know how to do it, which you could, I could help you. At least get the practice so that when Shorts comes out, you jump on it and then you get popular on Shorts. When Lasso comes out, you jump on it, you get popular on Lasso. We decide to start a YouTube channel. Now you have video experience, looking at the camera, speaking on camera, all the orchestration of the music with the thing. YouTube, you could dominate YouTube. Like, I feel like people jump on a thing and they're like expecting such a short-term return, and it's like, yo, bro, did LeBron James get to the NBA in fucking 2 seconds? This guy worked his ass off for years.
He's working his ass until now every day for 7 to 8 hours.
Now, bro.
What are you telling?
And it's like, for some reason, when it comes to like business, or like when it comes to like, let's say in this case, social media, it's like, yo, I don't need practice. I'm good. No, bro, you're a fetus. You just started out.
Exactly. And I hate when things like, in general, when things get out of my hands. So when I started last year or getting more serious, I took a camera, I took Photoshop, I took Adobe Premiere, I took After Effects, I took everything, and I started recording, getting into singing. So I think it's as you said, everything is a package, and just get those skills and you'll be mature enough at a point where people like you're confident about your content and you can pass, as you do and now, the message that you want in the platform or the efficient way that you want.
Oh, definitely, bro, definitely. And I think a lot of people, what they do is they're, first of all, they're very they're afraid of what to post up. But another behavior besides the fear of like judgment of people is that they default into, yo, I'm good enough how I am right now, and people will like you, or the people should like you, like in a more of an entitlement side. Like, yo, I just put out like really bad content. Don't worry, bro. People will like you either way. It's like, no, bro.
Man,
You have to improve.
and most of the internet are haters, so don't expect, 60%
Yeah, I
of
know
the
that
people
too.
to like you. People are bored, they sometimes just want to make fun, so don't take it also
I mean,
personally.
you see this a lot in like the music scene with a lot of like rappers and like whatever. But not just rappers, but like artists in general, is like they have kind of like they have a little bit of an arrogance complex where they're like, yo, just because my art is good and I think my art is good and I know my art is good, but me, right? That people are automatically going to revolve around and it's just going to blow up on its own without me having to engage in any marketing, zero marketing.
So
And then
I,
that's why you
I,
hear a lot of
I
that's why
did,
you hear a lot of
I did
singers and
management.
rappers.
Sorry
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
interrupt you 1 second, but I did management of creative industries, and it's literally my life and my boredom. Like when I do marketing now for artists, it's like, man, but my music is good. Yeah, but your music is good, but it's either your product is not adapted for the people you want to sell it to, or you're not doing enough. You're not producing enough. It's not with one song that you're gonna blow up. Like as you said, the
Yeah.
true artists produce albums every 2 weeks. And sorry to have interrupted you again.
And it's like no, like bro. I mean, like even you're just a guy who's starting out. Like even Jay-Z or when freaking Kanye or whatever puts out an album, it's like they just pumped out freaking $50 million into ads. Even the celebrity is pumping out a fuck ton of cash into ads. You're just starting out. We don't even know you, and you're not putting a single dime into advertisement or into marketing. And it's like, bro. And like you see this lot, you see that one of the responses that they'll do is like, "Yo, my local community doesn't support me. Yo, Toronto doesn't support local rappers. Shut the fuck up, bro. Yep. They support who's good. That's
exactly.
it.
Exactly. I've been taken in this quarantine like a new skill. And I like also always to do life experience. I took it from Build Your Life Experiences from Jesse, and now it's like getting into singing and rapping. And I wrote some songs, and literally you could know after 2 months that 60% of the rap out there is piece of shit because you can do better.
Well, you know, the thing too is like the product, and in this case, the song is a product. The product is only valuable if there's an attribution of value to that product. So your song is only valuable if 5 million people are like, yo, I like this guy's song. Besides that, it's not with art. It doesn't have a value.
Also with art, you have like recognition of artists. So if you are also clashing everybody and no one respects your art within artists, you're never gonna make it. So you need to network a lot with artists within your scene and to have a good name. And then if you're willing to push, as you say, it's like brand is called, what they call it there in music is legacy. If you're willing to work into legacy, so you're not gonna blow up like now is doing Drake. Drake is magnificent marketer, for example. He took Tusi's slide and made it for TikTok and blew it up. He's a genius at making that, but he's not that good of a rapper, and he whenever will be. But he's assuming that fact. He's doing his stuff. He's doing what he's good at.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, that's the thing. It's like whether we like it or not, even if objectively or like not objectively, even if we think that the person's music or the person's product or the person doesn't deserve that recognition, it's like, well, the market decided that. It's not you that decides it. Like, but it is what it is. Like, even if you think it's bad and most people think it's bad, they still listen to it. So there must be something.
Exactly. You're always true on that. Like the people that goes and write, this is a bad movie, but you did watch it until the end. If you did watch it until the end, something in it attracted you to also take the time.
It's like, even if you think it's a bad movie, it's not productive. It's not productive to be like, yo, this movie is terrible. It's not worth what it's worth. And it's not, I don't believe that people should be valuing this thing so much. And it's like, it's not productive. It's not productive to think that because it's already been done. Like, they've already valued it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what did you watch? What did you do in this quarantine? What
new? Me, like day in, day out, I'm just like studying, researching, trying a bunch of stuff on TikTok, consulting and doing podcasts. And then I have a few conferences coming up too, like digital conferences.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. And I've been training. That's it.
So what? Yeah. No. Also, I'm back to training, but I picked up also, for example, some skating here in Berlin. They left us in these last 2 weeks. For example, you go to a park, but you stay 1.5 meter away from each other, and people are quite organized, I would say, here. So I went skating a bit, and I tried to change because sitting at home and doing only sport at home at some point was frustrating to me.
Yeah, it's good to escape a little bit, get some fresh air. But I've been trying to minimize the amount of like short-term dopamine stuff. Like I've been trying to. It's very interesting. Like there's a thing called dopamine detox.
Mm-hmm.
But the effect, the phenomenon is basically like if I were to like cheat on, let's say I'm on a strict diet, okay, and I cheat and I decide to eat like a burger that I just saw in front of me, like a lot of calories, right? That short-term move that is objectively not good for me leads to 4 other moves. So I've been trying really hard in the last like 2 months now to like hold back on like all that dopamine, short-term dopamine. Because I know it's like a chain reaction. It's like, okay, you play video games for an hour, then it leads to you eating like shit for like a bunch of stuff, and then it leads to like 4 hours, and then it leads to like watching a movie. And it's like I'm trying to be as productive as possible in the time of quarantine that I have now, instead of defaulting into like, yo, I'm just gonna chill and do nothing.
And
But that's just me.
No, like I was doing it for 1.5 years, but I figured out at some point that I needed some moment. For example, myself, it's a personal view, but I needed time to kick off or to go outside. I'm a bit wild. Like I need those times to go and decompress. And
No,
that,
I mean, like even me, I have like my escapisms that I'll introduce here and there. Like one thing that's very therapeutic for me is the gym.
Yeah, me too.
So I bought a squat rack with a bunch of plates and a barbell. So like every day I just train for like an hour and a half, whatever, to just like a therapy to like escape. And if I'm like working and I've worked for like 3 hours straight, then I'll like watch like an episode of anime and eat a little thing, like a little bit of escapism for 30 minutes, and then back to work.
Nice. So
yeah. So that's kind of like how I do it.
I was thinking actually of doing a new tattoo of like a small goten, a small goten on my thigh. Yeah, I like it.
Shit,
I have goten here. I have the truth of Full Metal Alchemist. I have the geese, and one of my favorite mangas is actually Wolf's Rain. So I'm doing, but it's more about Japanese culture that I'm doing the other tattoo.
Yeah, right now I'm watching like One Piece and like Tower of God. Yeah, looks okay so far.
I like phased out completely with the long format mangas. I like when it's small, it's arty, and the guy push you in 24 to 12 episodes, one hell of a story, and that's exactly what I need. And I think the manga industry is also suffering a lot of that. Before, I remember when I was young, I was watching 2 or 3 every week, and you could like read the book or watch the anime, and it's like something life-changing. I think we lost a bit on production or value doing that, but it's also fun in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on now with the whole... That's my brother.
Happens.
He's playing video game. Anyways, yeah, so I think what's going on, especially, it's not just anime, but also with the whole like DC and like movies and Hollywood, whatever, is the like I listened to a podcast with the Lululemon CEO, the Lululemon founder. So one of the biggest vulnerabilities of like Fortune 500 and like public companies is like you have like the quantitative people and the creative people. The quantitative people are like the engineers, accounting, finance, whatever, like numbers. Then you have the creative people. The visionary CEO also lumps into that basket. And the creative people are moving and they're thinking of the next thing, like a future thing. But it's not guaranteed, right? Taking a risk. Like in the future, I think it's going to be like this. And the quant people, I don't want to cut you off, but the quant people are like using the historical data. And what happens is that if the creative people and the founder and the CEO are mess up on their prediction, all of the quant people literally destroy the creatives.
But exactly, that's what happens. And if you want, innovation comes from a place of failure. And if we want to recreate a creative society, or what's going to happen now, I think after Corona, go into the the economy more of connaissance or reconnaissance of how we say
Yeah,
connaissance, knowledge. Yeah, the economy of
knowledge.
knowledge.
Yeah.
We're gonna enter more into individualism, where creativity is gonna be more what's more valuable than the other stuff. Now we're seeing information is there, robots are gonna take more of the industrial job. So I think we'll shift there. I don't think that the other side, the technical side, will win over a long time. Otherwise, the world would die.
Oh no, I was referring to the entertainment industry in the sense
Only?
of like,
Sorry.
yeah, only the entertainment industry. So like, let's say I have a budget of like $50 million. We could put the $50 million into a completely new thing that we haven't seen before, new concept, but it could flop completely, like full flop, $50 million lost, one shot. Or we could put it into, let's say, a Marvel movie, which we've already done and already has the branding for the series, and we know it's going to work. A lot of times what we do is like, yeah, just put the 50 million into the Marvel movie, forget about the new thing.
But that's what.
And so it's like, so now what we've been seeing a lot is like, we're gonna revamp a cartoon from like the past. We're gonna redo a thing from the past. We're gonna whatever. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, but that's why platforms are saving the deal. Like Netflix and Amazon of the world are buying small content creator, or buying content, for example, from national land, so in their main language, to be figured out. And that's their market. That's, they're planning to save small to middle producer. And
Oh yeah.
but
Yep.
but this year I've seen you, it's true, I was going to ask you about this, is the obnoxious year of nostalgia. Like all over the place, the 90s, the 80s, the comics, everything is totally like being either sold or made into a movie. And it's, you're really true about that.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you even see it with the coronavirus, like nostalgia, people recollecting the past and like nostalgia, memories, whatever. The nostalgia, I mean, you know, this is just my theory, might be attributed to kind of like a global nihilistic view of the world. So it's like, and you see it a lot with young people. Young people, you see a lot of nihilism because of, bro, everything right now is very nice. Imagine you had to be drafted and sent into World War One. You know what I mean? Like everybody here would be crying. And now we're crying for like little stuff. So imagine like you're drafted into World War II, bro, front lines. It's not funny. So I think what happened is that the world kind of got soft for multiple reasons. Like, let's say like parenting, they got soft because everything, the standard of living is super nice. Everything's accessible, quick, fast, everything's perfect. The nihilistic approach, nihilism might also have to do with the ideological foundation building, and kind of like a push in the universities and kids and whatever for a while. Like the world's going to end here. Climate change is going to end. The big companies are taking, automation's taking all the jobs. Like whatever, like anything it is, coronavirus. So it's like, since when people were younger or in the past, they might not have thought of all these things, or they might not have been exposed to all these ideas. They think that the world back then was better, or there's a lot of nostalgia, or there's a lot of like, yo, I wish we were just back in the past. Like this new world is terrible, but it's like, it's not that bad. Like it's actually very good.
I love it. Me, I had also like this idea that the world might go, when I went into technology, all of our lives could be only better. And as you said, like if you put your life in perspective now, 10 years or 20 years ago, just internet as the only game changer, as you said, man, if you can reach people in India, and people as we are now, like a half Tunisian, half Lebanese living in Berlin, talking to a guy half Asian, half Canadian in Canada, and doing a podcast,
exactly.
It's pretty amazing. Like this possibilities in the world, and to find like-minded people while you're confined, for example, and you
That's
get
what I'm saying.
the
Like if we look at even more broad and historical, like the standard of living for the last like millennials has been like pathetically small, pathetically weak. The life expectancy has been up to like 40 years old, and then all of a sudden the 1800s, it just flew, and now it's like super high, like you live till 90. So like we're living in basically the best period of like all of history almost, and we're complaining. Terrible.
Well, last thing before we go. I've been paying a lot of attention to this question. What do you think about environment? How will you set up your environment, friends? Since we're talking about nostalgia, should you cut loose with people that are not within the same mindset as you, or should you, like, if they are your homies, just have them in their context? What do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, the way I kind of see it is like, first of all, you shouldn't kind of like, you should find a way to learn how to get friends fairly quickly. That should be a skill that you should have. You don't want to be pigeonholed into the scarcity mindset. You don't want to be pigeonholed into like, I only chill with like 4 people, and like since I can't find other friends because I've never tested or tried out, now I'm stuck with these guys. But what if these guys are destructive they're like destructive to me? Doesn't matter, because I'm desperate, so I stay with them. If they bully me, still stay with them. If they do that, still stay with them. I think for me, the way I kind of see it is like, I kind of like explore with a lot of people. Like I try out, I talk to a lot of people. I keep it relatively like open, diverse. You know, I obviously have some friends that they were like, let's say close to me in the past, and they've maybe swayed on a different path or whatever. Perfectly fine. I'm still there if they want to talk, whatever, chill. But and then if there's friends that are like, if you're like let's say you want to be a person of like very, very high performance, the difference in like the performance of like a person who doesn't really strive that much versus a guy who's like striving really, really far, the bigger the difference that creates, the more difficult the dynamic's gonna be. Because it's like, the guy who's barely even starting out can't possibly understand where you're coming from. And the first thing they'll probably do is probably demonize, like, yo, shut the fuck up. It's like, for example, I take a guy from my gym. He's like deadlifting 7 plates, super low body fat, super strong. He goes in the gym day in, day out, tracks every single thing, every macro, sleep conditions, cycles, everything. And then you put this guy, let's say, next to a guy who's like completely out of shape. The guy who's completely out of shape, the moment the guy who's in shape says something like, yo, I'm getting a little bit chunky, I have to like probably cut down a little bit of calories, the guy who's out of shape is gonna take full offense, bro. He's gonna be like, yo, shut the fuck up. You're freaking out in super good shape. And it's like, it's true, he is in good shape, but he's basing it on the standard of like the high performance person.
I understand what you mean, yeah.
So the way I usually do it is like, I think you have to like, if there's people that are being like destructive to your path or destructive to your ambition, you have to either confront them or you just slowly distance. That's it.
Exactly.
Slowly distance. You move towards people that are more productive. That's it.
I'm also with you on that side. So when I feel that I need to focus in general, it's just like tunnel vision, and I go into my beast, like dark mode. I don't want to hear nobody. I'll contact people when I need to work. Otherwise, even my family or my stuff, I need my time. Like everything is on the clock. And that's how I managed to go there. So I wanted to ask you that, because I feel like every people's advice is different. And I like a lot when you put that in a way, like, you should treat everyone within the context. So don't lose everyone, because a lot of people will tell you cut loose directly. No, don't cut loose, but put into a context. Or is, as you said, the muscular guy, athletic guy could make it as a game. Let's go to the gym and try to play another game and get people more into it. So
you just limit if you know the person that's next to you is like, gets very salty very easily,
yeah,
and doesn't have the awareness that like, yo, the guy that's chilling with me is a freaking super high level performance guy. I have to understand a little bit where he's coming from. Obviously the other person has to have self-awareness too, not to like insult on purpose. But the idea is like, you want to be as contextual to like the interaction as possible. So like, you can still chill with the guy who's like out of shape, but if you want to be in like a realm where it's like everybody's kind of like driving forward in like the fitness space, it's like you have to start chilling with people that are kind of like in the same realm, the same mindset, or else it's just like you basically sit there and you're like a super high level performance guy, and you're just like sitting in a group of like who like don't like take it seriously or as seriously, and it's just like you don't feel good in that group because you're just like,
and it's gonna affect you, because more or less when you're when you're into that like low levels or dark moments, that's when you need high performance people or people that motivate you within the environment. So when
It's
you're
like, yeah, it's like not only does it kind of like maybe drag you down a little bit, but it's definitely for a fact not going to boost you up because the person
exactly.
next to you doesn't know, you know. Like
So
he can't bring something to your table
mhm.
because there isn't something that he could bring in the field you wanna like excel at.
So basically, I wanted to tell you one last thing. I think this episode, I'm gonna translate it into Tunisian, like do all the translation and try to air it down also into a local language, so we could generate some traction from there.
But
So
Tunisia is it's Arabic French, right?
it's Arabic French. We have our own dialect, if more or
Oh,
less,
okay.
but I'm gonna do it both. So I'm gonna do the Arabic, so full old traditional Arabic, and I'm gonna do a Tunisian dialect
Okay.
because until now it's getting crazy because most of the people I work within my brand or what I want to establish work within creativity or all over the world are most of them international, and people I want to work with also have like French or Arabic as a language. So
Yeah. I
but I'm
mean,
gonna
I
make everyone on every channel. So, but I want everyone to understand at least if they want to.
mean, I speak French too, but I know the terminology better in English. But you say
Me too.
that.
And
Yeah.
last thing, I may be coming to Montreal as well, moving there, and so I'm finishing here when this coronavirus end up. Go back to Tunisia, film some content, put my immigration paper, and move to Montreal most most likely within
Nice.
the
Good.
next year.
Nice. Good move, bro. I
I'm
mean, it
gonna
sounds like a
start
good
to
move.
freelance and do some work there.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been to I mean, I feel like Berlin's pretty fun, pretty nice too, though.
It's
But
them
you
of a
want
fun. No, it's if you are talking about fun and how to find yourself and your artistic side, it's a city that never dies. It's the best city that I like. I had this experience of how dark can you get with just exploring yourself, and it was a pretty amazing idea because you see every panel that you can find within yourself. It's kind of raw, but I like it dirty in general in life. I don't like a nice, always built up path.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, same. Yeah. Anyways, it sounds like a good move. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. There's a lot of bro in Montreal. There's a lot of Arabic people too. Like there's a lot.
That's why, man, they are lacking content in this forum, and especially why I started. Like, I wanted to go more into this type of content. Is education is a little bit fucked up over in Tunisia, and they are telling them that you can't make money. And I grew up there, and I thought there was like few ways of making money, but most of like the Tunisian either have, for example, IT diplomas or work into digital marketing. So you could literally remotely do everything you want and generate money. And since nobody is doing that, and most of the mentality until now is I make alone, so I wanted to give this information up front and move to the next part of my life. And
Nice, yeah. Good move.
also I'm really interested in showing the cultural, like the high performance, as you said, people within my culture that I know, musician and otherwise, that maybe not put the shine on. So that was
Yep,
my big idea as well.
yep. Sounds pretty good.
So one last thing,
Yes.
you want to add something?
I mean, not in particular, but maybe the last thing I would say is probably to start taking TikTok a bit more seriously, because if you're not, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Exactly.
I'm
Super nice, man. I had
telling you, bro. People that are artists or people in business, like they disrespect TikTok because of whatever reason,
you know
and
I
they always disrespect it at the first, and now it's like we're already at like 800 million active users. You better start waking up.
I almost got fired because I told in my last job that you needed to make a TikTok account when it was too early adoption. So yeah, you understand, like now we are into, like as we said before, harder times, but get your shit together because TikTok is still, you can still blow up on that platform. I'm really sure of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can still blow up for sure. I mean, and the thing is like, I've seen it already with the Instagram thing. It's like the organic reach never goes straight down, you know, like even it usually does like a cycle. And I mean, now we've had a little bit of a sharp, kind of like a sharp down because of the coronavirus, but it's definitely going to go up at one point. That's for sure. And you can still go relatively viral now, even if it's hard. Just that it takes a lot more effort.
I think my advice would be go more as Instagram, go more niche, go more local, get like less supervised. Don't attack a fitness account like altogether or a dancing account, and just search for the followers that may be there to insert you. And I remarked last thing is TikTok uses a lot of your geographical position to start to position your account. So they will get your For You page only in your count in the country you're in, then they will bypass you to the other For You pages.
Yeah, exactly. The way you kind of look at it is like TikTok will you have to basically, you're the account user. You have to teach the algorithm what your account's about and what your account likes and stuff. The first thing they see is that you're located in Montreal. That's the first thing they see. So they're going to boost it to people in Montreal, or show you people from Montreal too. If you want to get on other people from other countries, then you use hashtags of a certain location and you make content around other locations. Like if you're making content in French and it's like Quebec or French, of course people that are in Quebec are going to react more strongly to your content than somebody who's like in the States. They can't even understand what you're saying.
No, but I tried it also with hashtags actually. And I tried making like content, for example, in other languages. And it was still at first being shown in my region. Like you need to get your account categorized and then do it, I think.
Yeah, but how many views were you getting on your videos?
Like really little, around 200 and some things like that.
Yeah, so
from Germans.
The first 150 to 500 to 1,000 to 1,500, they're gonna boost it to a lot of local people. But when the video goes past 100,000 views, don't worry, bro. You find a lot of they boost it to everyone. Like if they fire it to a batch of like, let's say the first 150 is like in Berlin, in Germany, then 500 Germany, then 1,000 Germany, and then at 1,500 they start pushing it to like 50 people United States, 30 people Netherlands, 20 people India, whatever, and they see that those other countries are interacting heavily. The following wave after that is going to be more of that country. That's why when I make a video about India, it starts off all good, and then my For You page is basically 50% India. You know? So yeah. It's very like the bigger the post becomes, the more it's going to be boosted to a certain person, certain demographic.
So I think for a first episode with you, it was really great to have you. A lot of insightful tips, a lot of things you could learn also for yourself, and also a lot of deep talks that I love to have. And I expected to have a nice talk, and it was really great. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Did you at least have a fun time doing it?
Oh yeah, bro. I always have a like these types of discussions. I love it, bro. It's the best, and provides a lot of value for people that are listening too, hopefully. So yeah, but I appreciate it a lot, bro.
I appreciate it a lot also. It's really great that I got you in, and we'll do it again when you hit the 1 million and when I'll hit the 10K on YouTube.
Yep.
Have a fun night, and let's keep in touch as usual.
You too, bro. Talk to you later.
Peace.
Bye.